older. Two houses, House of Commons, House of Lords. When we vote in the elections, the people we choose sit in the Commons because they're chosen by the common people. The House of Lords have got titles: Lady this, Lord someone, Baron so-and-so. And very clever building inside. If you go to the House of Commons, all the seats are green leather, like a green and common land. You go to the Lords, the seats are red leather and the carpet is blue. So blue like blue-blooded for royalty, and red for like dignitaries and VIPs. So House of Lords, House of Commons, the people who kind of really make the rules every day, it's the Commons. And we have a Conservative government, Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister. Never discuss politics or religion on bus tours. All I'll say is we're in a bit of a mess. More ways than one, but hey, moving rapidly on. And then we come across, back onto the north side of the river, and Parliament Square. We are going to make a circuit around the square, and you will see many statues of people who have changed history, politics and society. The River Thames, second longest river in the country, 220 miles long, and it is tidal. It can rise and fall as much as 22 feet between high and low tide. So we pass Elizabeth Tower, we pass Parliament, and then we're going to do a complete circuit all around the square. Now, as we enter the square, you will see people that you will recognise, hopefully. The very first statue at the corner, any idea who this could be? Winston Churchill, the man who led us to victory in World War II. Look to the far right, you'll see a whole line of statues. The very first one at the corner, with his arms outstretched, is Nelson Mandela. Higher up, you can see a man in a long tailcoat. That is Robert Peel. That's the man who founded the police service. We sometimes call the policemen Bobbies. Robert, Bob, Bobby. Then, where the kind of group are just walking in the middle, there's a man with a kind of blanket around him. That's Mahatma Gandhi. And then to the far right, can you see there's a woman in a long dress holding like a banner? That's Dame Elizabeth Fawcett. You may not know the name, but she was one of the leading members of the suffragette movement, the right for women to vote. So all of these people have changed history, politics and society. And then as we come around the square, on the left you'll see another statue, and this is one of your own, Abraham Lincoln. And I get asked all the time, why do you have a statue of Lincoln looking across at Parliament? Well, it's a sign of friendship between the two countries, because as I said earlier, we are now friends, aren't we? Yes, indeed. So, you can see all these statues as we turn. You will see Mr. Lincoln, if you couldn't see him just now. Look on your left-hand side as we come round, and you can see him. Look to the left there he is. And then over to your right, the Parliament building. So the next corner, once again, you'll see a rather grumpy looking man, Winston Churchill, who led us to victory in World War II. Now, we are a tiny little country. As I mentioned earlier, we're an island. But if I throw names that you recognise globally, where are they from? William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, Queen Victoria, Princess Diana, the Beatles, Harry Potter, Adele. Hello. We were asked to vote a number of years ago who was the greatest Briton who'd ever lived. We, the people, the nation, voted Churchill, the greatest Briton of all time. Liked to smoke, liked to drink, and had a very sharp, very acidic wit. As we come back round the square, over to the right, you'll see a small white stone church, and this is called St Margaret's in Westminster. This is where Churchill married in 1908. In the backdrop, you will see a massive building, which is the Royal Church, and that is Westminster Abbey. Now, we haven't had royalty buried in Westminster Abbey since 1760, so look right now, you can see where Churchill married, and then can you see in the backdrop there is that massive building, that's Westminster Abbey, and here to your right is the man himself. Not long before Churchill died in 1965, he was offered a burial place in Westminster Abbey, which is a huge honour, considering we haven't had royalty buried in Westminster Abbey since 1760. Apparently Churchill turned round and said, wow, that is a huge honour and I'm very flattered, but to be honest, too many people already in Westminster Abbey that I would just never get on with. So he's buried in a place called Blaydon, which is in Oxfordshire, and that's near to Blenheim Palace, where he was born. Westminster Abbey is fascinating. To go into Westminster Abbey, as I explained,